Okay, let's start back with a little bit of Minecraft. And where we last left off last week, we had gotten a sifting system sorted out. We're taking gravel, sand, and dust generated off of our little hubble gen sitting up there, power systems at the moment. Not that it's doing a very fast job of it. We do need to get an improved source of cobble, but that won't be too big of a problem. For now, it's okay if it runs slowly. And as you can see, I've been taking a lot of off-camera time to build out some storage for it and get all the piping figured out. And then I also built this thing in here. The start of the basic storage system for everything coming out of that farm. So I've got all of, well, basically everything that can be condensed, whether it's down to fully a just a 3x3 in the grid, or if it's got to be dealt with, namely aka all the dusts, then all of the metal outputs and all of the different various combinations of ore types, or not ore types, alloy types. So we've got some prosperity over there, signalum, solium's in there. I threw netherite in there just because I can, because it does break down to the nugget level. So not that I think there's anything that uses nuggets. Let's see, I think. No, there's one thing that uses nuggets, and it's in Tinkers. Go fig. Either way, we've got good storage for all of this, and we've also got everything linked together into the main storage system in here and the crafting system. Ores and everything, we're not going to be storing that stuff. As long as we have it accessible, I'm fine with that. And then all these little guys over here can be standalone. That's not going to be a problem. At any rate, just to also address a question that was raised when this got posted over on YouTube, the reason why I have the external storage buses attached to the underside here, even though it's not exactly as nice looking as it should be, is because you go all the way back to when this mod pack first came out, there was a bug where refined storage system couldn't push and pull anything out of the drawer controllers unless it was done from the bottom face of it. I don't know if that's still a thing, if that's been addressed in subsequent patches or not, but I'm erring on the side of caution with that. Good news is the system's working. We're not backing up pretty badly. Everything's flowing through at a pretty good clip. Now, I am in the process of still needing to get some obsidian upgrades. And by obsidian upgrades, I mean void upgrades into all of these drawers, because we are going to eventually start hitting caps. The other place I might, and I'll still put them on the gravel pieces there, because those could, if this whole system backs up, get overflowed. We've got them on some of them, the ones that are big and bad, like the skystone dust. Unfortunately, that really does need to go through a barrel sorting system, but we'll figure that out eventually. Also did plant a lot of these simple light bulbs in here because we have the Simply Light mod available, and for what they are, they're relatively cheap and do a decent-ish job of lighting up the place. I mean, that and these little corner or ceiling edge lights from Engineer's Decor pretty much take care of most of the lighting in here without needing a million torches, which is a relief. Anyways, I have some, oh, there's actually one other thing I did off camera. And that is, if we go up top, you can see that I've extended a crafting grid setup up here. So I can access everything in the cargo network from up here as well if I need to. Just because it's a little more convenient. Now, I did manage to chop down one of these trees for a good amount of wood, but pain to get to, unfortunately. Something we are going to have to also address in the near future is expanding our storage system. We're going to be moving. Well, we're going to be getting into flux plugs and the flux system, which will allow me to do wireless power to a certain extent. And we'll be moving all of this stuff out of our site and into a compact little dimension, all off on its own, just so I can just sit there and sit out of the way, and don't feel like you have to build to kind of hide it, basically. But goals for today: we need to get netherrack and end stone sifting going, which is also hammering. I'd like to get passive mobs up and going, if only just to have cows start to show up, because the apples aren't bad, but I could really use some additional food types, potentially. Latex and plastic processing, we need to get that up and running. That's not too bad. And mob farm storage. Well, I did try to address that a little bit over here. Oh, and I also put in a bridge. A much safer, nicer looking bridge over to the mob farm. Still have to duck down to the bottom to use it, but... that off. On. Nope, that turned the mob crusher off. It's a little dangerous getting in and out of there. You gotta make sure you don't inadvertently go over the edge, but at least it's a little safe to work on here, including a tiny little safety rail for over here. We do need to work on this a little bit. I've got the silly spinning crystal chest going here for what it's worth, and it's slowly starting to pull on some backlog. I'm fine with that. I also did sort through some of this stuff that it was storing and did a little bit of creative eviction just to make it a bit more useful. I'm sure I really need fine silk, but just make sure I remember to lock that drawer. So I can pull everything out of it, won't lose it. At any rate, I've already pulled out all the ender pearls from here, and the ender pearl fragments. They're down in the main storage system, but you can start slowly building up some of that. I mean, gunpowder is not that big of a deal. Bone meal is a bigger deal because that's effectively replacing our bone meal supply, which is also our cheapest available dye at this point. So great for that. But what do we want to tackle first? Let's get netherrack and end sifting done, because that's going to require some resources. Fortunately, it'll be a lot easier to build with, I hope. Need 4, just because I don't have any extra oak wood lying around. So much easier to do this. Am I really out of glass? Ah! The downside is I'm not exactly making it easy to save this stuff to sieve off. To an extent. See, over there, you are just an induction. That's the other problem, is I didn't exactly leave myself with any easy ability to grab glass out of the system. Should back over, try to hit that, won't be able to go into there, so it should just stick. Yep, that's fine. Hopefully got that going. Let's get the hammer up. This is where crafting becomes so much easier. This one hammer ready to go, and how's the power system holding up to this? It's not too bad. I think if I remember right, we got the dynamos upgraded, lightly upgraded, which is better than nothing. It's in a place where we don't accidentally link into this part of the network yet. trying to evaluate what I want to do with all the stuff I'm going to have to store out of this. Endstone is pretty easy to deal with. It's just pretty much going to be, call one of a handful of items coming out of it. Let's see, dust and stone. Yeah, 3. And unobtainium is pretty rare as it stands, so that's easy to do. The problem is going to come with a netherrack. Varium we can store quartz, rose quartz, vibranium, and gold ore. Well, gold ore we have stored, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4 new items. 5 in the storage system. We don't have anywhere to put quartz. We do have rose quartz in here already, and the fluix seed. So it looks like just pump. I'll just have to watch out for the vibranium ore. And everything else will just pump right into storage. So actually, we do want this lined up to go into this bus here. So result from being sieved first, which we also need. Let's see, string mesh, flint, iron, diamond, emerald, and let's see, do that over in the smithy table. I would dearly love for a mod that could let you. I should be able to do this automatically through the smithy table. I know I could definitely pull it off in A2, that is. That would definitely work. It's that. Let's make sure we pull this stuff out long. Otherwise, I'm holding up that entire part of the system from processing. I really need a standalone system for it. This sort of stuff. Not there, you here. One sieve. And actually, the reason why, if you're wondering why I was really concerned about having the system be able to push stuff back into this storage, is you don't want to have everything trickle down into your main disk. And it's just kind of a waste, really. So we've got our mesh, we've got that. We need. Should I really put everything in there? Yeah, I did. Usually don't like to leave everything in there. Just because if you have a power problem and suddenly you need your basic tools and they're not anywhere to get, well, that's kind of a problem. Okay, so we have item there. Power I can run along behind through here. I don't know if I did this on camera last week or not, but the sieve has been worked into this system as well. So this is all the output from that. The dirt's just going into storage for the time being, but the gravel and sand are getting worked back into this system, which is the other reason why I don't mind that this is running at a lower efficiency, because, well, it'll get picked up anyways. It's getting the occasional boost here. Place that and get that isolated first. Sieve output here. I have to be a little careful with these because I found out that if you do pipe something into them with a mesh that can go in there, they will happily go in there, amazingly. I did not actually expect that. But those things were gated in such a way that they couldn't actually have that done. Set on. Also, why I'm not putting the mesh in there. That really should be preventing anything from backflowing. Here we'll go out to that system. Well, really not much that should be running in there anyways. Right. Remember, I've got a hole open over there. I do not want to fall through it. Pull. Everyone's got power and lock the mesh in at this point. What we need is upstairs. I don't believe I've moved it just yet. Perfect. That's what we want. 45,000 and plus end stone. A little bit to seed the system. And the nice thing is when I destroy this, it's not going to cause everything to just all that to just spew all over the place. You get one additional stack out of it, and that's it. So don't be afraid to destroy that. What I am afraid of. Okay, good. We are. Not that I don't have more spare sitting downstairs, but move this down into the basement and set it up over here in the corner. Same way it was before, but now we're going to be drawing from it actively. And the nice thing about this is going to effectively supplement the number of... It'll take care of supplementing the amount of ender pearls I'm going to be getting into the system. Because that's going to compress down. I think the coarse flowers are probably going to be the biggest problem. I'll have to make sure we've got those getting voided out. Remember where those are storing down here. They aren't. So they should be backing up into here. That's what it looks like when we do have a backup. Won't kill it. So we're good with that. I've got a little time to figure that one out. Is there really anything I can do with that? I could put it into click machines. They're another way that we could potentially automate farming rather than using the harvesters. The downside is they require diorite specifically, which we don't have an easy way of making at the moment. I think there's a recipe for it that we can use, and there's a recipe that uses essence we could use. The problem is these things require power, and they require a massive amount of power. And they don't always... and I'm saying massive amount of power in comparison to a harvester. They don't always seem to... They're very difficult to set up. The parameters that exist for them are just a little weird. But primarily, I was using those on an earlier... on my offline world as an early attempt at trying to do farming with botany pots, which, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm not doing botany pots, here's why. It's a clay sink. That's terracotta, so 20 terracotta plus another 3, not 20 terracotta, 20 clay. You need 23 clay, all of it having been cooked, to go through and make one pot. It is a massive sink. The ender pearls are getting stuck as well. I thought I had you guys hooked up down here somewhere. Let's see. There's an ender pearl. Is there? Ethereum block. I'm trying to decide if I can stick this in a ender pearl dust. Their anchor. Cell starter. Basically, it's trying to figure out how do I want to store that. It looks like that's going to have to be a full-fledged single block, because we are going to want to pump out of that That's also the reason why I've got a lot of these actually stored in single item drawers, because that way I'll be able to pull them out like I am pulling out the flint. Not that that's going to stop this from flooding over soon enough, but it's really stacking up there. Fortunately, create some more. I think what we'll do, those out. Go down in there. I mean, this is kind of a... I mean, cocoa beans is alone. I'm going to have to set those up as it stands, but let's pre-stage that. Lock the drawer. Once the storage system is live, it is really difficult to try to slot anything in before it gets used up, so that's why I do it. That, and that should be quick enough. Didn't pull, good. Now the ender pearls have a place to go. Now there's a finite range to how long these drawer controllers can influence things, but this shouldn't be a problem. We put one in, we've already got 4 in there, so we know it's working. It's 16, but realist, either 10 or 16. I know it's one of those two limits. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we've got enough to stretch down. No problem. I wouldn't push it past a chunk anyways to be on the safe side. So dump all of that in there, so I have some spare. In case I want to do anything with ender blocks, ender bricks. Let's see, we need unobtainium. Yeah. Like I said, we'll just keep an eye on that. And have the same sort of setup that we're going to be doing for the setup with Netherrack, but we're going to have a lot more coming out of that. That will be tricky. I guess there was advantage in crafting all those heavy-weighted pressure plates. I am using them. Oh, just forgot. I mean, even not running the furnace, this so far is not processing at a fast enough rate to be a problem with the backs. But once I replace that cobble gen up there with the higher tier one, all bets are off, basically. That's the point where we'll have to start looking at overclocking the grinders and the furnace. But really, the ultimate stick in the mud here is going to be these two crafters, unfortunately. It's going to really depend on seeing how well those keep up. Let's see what sieve, oak, which you could complain we don't have, but that's a lie. You know it. We've got that. The other thing I could do is I could take this, compress it up with a hammer, or compress it up after it gets hammered, and then send it through the autosieve. But the trick with that is, if you're doing that with your gravels, you are absolutely going to overflow your sieve system for that. This will just be spewing stuff everywhere if you go that route. Whereas if you're doing it with a single item, yeah, it's slower, but you're going to be able to handle the output with your storage system without having to try to hopper up excess or anything. And that's going to go here. We've got... Civ can just spit out... Here to save. There we go. Extra end stone. Snuck into the system. It's fine. That's why we've got that filter, and, well, I mean, really, all of this is one giant filter over here anyways. It's on its own. I want you to send down that way. pull from hammer here, and we'll don't think it's actually required, but I prefer to pull from the sides of the pedestals. I'm going to have to make some more power conduits to get around that corner, too. Oh, biggie, easy. Easy squeezy. I honestly don't know why they have basalt as something you can generate endlessly. It's doesn't seem to be a very useful block to have an endless supply of, but we've got it if we want it. Set that back up and export into hammer. Good. We need to set that. Means another fun mesh crafting sequence. Ready to start doing that, and yeah, that's definitely enough. More cable, please. Right. An example in my hand, I can pull that a lot quicker. Things get so much easier in this mod pack once you've got refined storage automated crafting up. To the point where, honestly, I'm not really a fan of AE2's auto crafting. I mean, it can do it. It's not that it's missing, but it is much more rigidly defined. And as a result, doing a lot of things like this, or when I get over to, I'll have wireless access to the system eventually. Having wireless crafting like that on the go, very handy. To the point where, on my other world, I've actually left the refined storage system in place with some items fed into it to let me do some pocket crafting around as I go. And it's almost a portable crafting grid now, more than anything. Alright, so that's going to start sieving up eventually. Getting into there, I did not do that. There you go. Flow is working. And netherite scrap is going to be our first hang up. I just unloaded all the scrap into the system, I guess. I hate when it does this. It puts everything from there off to the side for whatever reason. Get some storage for that. I like the idea that they give you all those different chest variants, but sometimes it is just really annoying. Am I... one of everything? You're out of order. Both these, if you're curious, input in the center chest here, so... Gonna have all the chests in the world. And it'll burn through them really quick, because if there's one thing storage drawers are good at, it's making you go through chests. That's worth it. It's so worth it. 2x2, 2x2. Alright, so this one. Lock and. That on the stack. Yes, I know I accidentally hit you. Ooh-hoo. So you decided to give me one of that item. The downside is trying to keep these things from automatically flowing into the into your hotbar and through your inventory when they try to auto sort, auto swap. Oh, you've used one. Here, let me put these 3 others in here that you don't want. Or then trying to understand which one this one is out of all of these. The drawers are a little, at least for me, they're a little on the dark side, the icons. So you can't really easily tell what they are until you hover over them. That storage in place. See what else happens to overflow into the system. We should eventually see vibranium ore and unobtainium ore. The ore pieces for that will start to gather up. That should probably come through at a really slow pace. I wanted to get all of this processing up and running now, because it means not having to worry about waiting forever for that stuff to show up. All right, passive mobs. That a little light back in that corner. They're not going to spawn on well, nothing here will spawn on half slabs, but they got full slabs over there. Not to mention the tops of the sieving process itself. It's a little worrying. Passive mobs. If I remember right, I did make 1 piece of cow bait. And I'm also going to want to have let's see, fencing. You got more spruce than that. Yeah, okay. No. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I get phantoms. I get phantoms. If you're below Y62, they say the phantoms don't show up. It's like, do I really feel like trusting that? Let's just make sure. Have to remember to hit F7 every now and then. I think if I use the pocket machines, that becomes a problem. F7 doesn't remain on, but that's what gives me my you're not lit up grid lines. I want to have this fenced off because animals can and will spawn in at a redonkulous rate once we get this up and going. And I do mean redonkulous. It is a bit crazy. It's like the mod pack basically gates animal spawning. And once you've managed to get any animal spawn in, like right now, this should be, something should have spawned in here by now normally in vanilla Minecraft. But once you've broken through the barrier in this mod pack, then it's kind of like everything spawns in. Which is really annoying if you happen to have started off in a jungle biome, because you will have nothing but parrots spawning in for days. Seal that off, or maybe I'll just make that the entrance and fence there. We do have some options as well. We could do walls, and we do have some decorative walls as well that we could work with, courtesy of Macaw's fences and walls. There's some nice looking ones in here, and what they require for parts isn't actually that bad, but I will take plain old cobble for now. Aesthetics can come later. Oh. Here is back through the fence. That way, anything it even does manage to make it around there will not have anywhere to go except on the outside of the fence. If they really want to, I'm sure the pathfinding AI will figure that out eventually. And this should all be somewhere else, shouldn't it? Tell you what, for the time being. Cheesy way of getting stuff moved around there, but it works. You're treated as a block, which that actually helps me out a bit. Do I have enough for a gate? It's also same mod that gives you the walls, also gives you some nice looking gates as well. Spruce. Bit more on the expensive side, but hey, it works. Now there's a weird graphical glitch with the stone torches I'm using. They don't actually cause the wall to pop up the little perching bit there that regular torches do. Like I can take this one here and pop that down, and it does that little stand for it, but it'll work. So we've got a lit up area. The only other thing that we're going to be looking for is, well, two things really. One, to stop hiding that. It comes from I should be clearing out my crafting grid selection before I actually move on to trying to find something else in the system, because that auto empties it. Bucket of water. Because it is something that animals will generally flock towards. For my sanity, in case I extend underneath this. There, and bit of bone meal. Gonna get flowers, but I'll at least get some. Oh, sure. Now you do that. That's a rare one. Out of cyclic, huh? Cyan dye. Pretty much looks like it's generic usage for everything. Add to a barrel of... Ah, that's how we're going to get our bee. Okay. See, I've never actually gotten to this point in my other world. Interesting. Okay, that'll get me up to bees. That was actually a very lucky find then. Ooh, going right in there. So we've got some natural foliage built up. We've got some trees in the area. That should be enough for the cow bait to work. There we go. It's telling me move out of the range so I don't scare the animals away. It's fine. And you can see that's it, huh? One lone baby cow. You test me, game. One baby cow. Well, at any rate, we'll let this go. That little guy should have caused more things to start spawning in as soon as they're effectively allowed to sit alone for a while. That should take care of passive mobs, believe it or not. Now that we have mobs showing up, we are going to need a way to get them out because, as I've mentioned, this is going to result in things like wolves showing up. And when the wolves show up, hello, cutie. When the wolves show up, they're going to go after any sheep that spawn. And honestly, sheep would be really useful rather than being reliant on, say, the mob farm for string. Because one less thing I've got to worry about crafting, right? So I would like to be able to pull out certain things. Also, remember right, we should have... That should be Industrial 4 going, I'm willing to bet. Entity spawner. Is a mob egg. So we don't have... I might be thinking of old mod packs from old that let you do powered spawners and everything, that you'd use the safari nets that we'll have access to once we get plastic up and going. Looks like that is all out of that mod pack or disabled. Whereas... Industrial foregoing tools. Okay, different mod pack. This is an oldie but a goodie, and we'll be getting gas tiers out of soul sand sifting, which will eventually get that automated once we get the witch water setup moved down here. But you can see we also need plastic. Plastic is going to be the reason why I will be glad to have acacia saplings. And also why this is going to be really annoying to start off with. Yes, I know you're there. Could you spawn some other guys in? I'd really not like to waste more wheat in there. This is going to be annoying because this is definitely going to get in the way of the platform this out a bit further. I think I would rather have the acacia off on their own. They spread everywhere. They get their leaves mixed up in everything. They are a pain to deal with, honestly. And I don't need them chunk loaded. You don't really get much wood out of them either. Give them a little spot off to the side of the farm. A broad area to collect the saplings and wood from. Grow to just about any darn near size. Can you tell I do not like the achacha? It is a cha-cha, it will never not be a cha-cha. And get that going. The reason why I want a cha-cha wood is this stuff gives best latex next to jungle wood. And while I've got jungle wood back there, this stuff, jungle wood will eventually result in me going up to a tree that right now I can't chop down due to its size. Whereas the cha-cha is manageable. And they also have a much better sapling drop rate, so I know I'm not going to run out of that anytime soon. Flip side to that is I've got to watch out to make sure they don't do anything like what this one has done and spawn in such a way that there's going to be a space up top that something could spawn in. That is how you turn around and suddenly find yourself facing an army of skeletons downstairs. Wondering the entire time, where did these guys come from? My platform is spawn-proof. No, platform is spawn-proof, your tree is not. Anyways, with that secured, let's go for... We need a latex processing unit, which is going to require latex right off the bat. Well, how am I supposed to get latex if I don't have it already? Well, we need the fluid extractor for that. See, there's our achacha wood. Able to extract 4 millibuckets over 12 ticks, so the average output... Average numbers aren't real numbers. It's a randomized element. You can see, really, this is kind of the best we can do. Actually, yeah, jungle wood's not as good as I thought it was. It used to be the other way around. Jungle wood was the best. But really, acacia looks like it's going to give us the best rates. So we need a fluid extractor, which means we're going to need some new stuff. Aside from some lightweight pressure plates. This is the machine equivalent to IC2's extractor when you think about it. Need a pity machine frame and extractor. Then we also need our latex processor once we've got a bucket of that going. Fluid extractor, like everything else as you can imagine, is going to require, you got it, power. Still haven't spawned anything in yet. The downside is it also places in the most annoying way. There. We've got power, and then basically it's as simple as a block in front of it. And you can see it's already starting to do it. What you'll see is this block will slowly over time crumble away. It's like on my other world, acacia seems to be treated a little differently in that it, I'll be honest, I haven't seen it with acacia in the usual configuration. Well, normally just put 4 of these, surround this area, and have something above this block to place it down. So it can automatically just place as this gets worked. But for the time being, that's okay. I'm not going to bother doing anything with tanking this at this point because it's going to take a while to get this done. I'd like a little companion for that poor cow. It looks lost. Let's see. Pull out of wheat, if I remember right. Wheat seed will give me a sheep bait. Where am I going to find seeds for that? The neat thing about these baits is it does let you pick what animal you're attracting. The downside is they don't like having too many of them around at once. Like right now, that one's telling me there's no water in this area, so it's pissy about that. Bait will work, and too many baits in this area. Fine. Back off. You stay there. Trust me, you're safe in there. Eventually, I'll get to a point where I'll have too many animals in that enclosure, and it's not going to let me do any more bait in there. Come on. Spawn? Anything? Trying to keep an eye on the... There we go. There's one sheep. I'll bet that other bait's now not working because too many animals. It says it'll work. just to be on the safe side. Paranoid. Really, an unlit platform is going to be the best way to absolutely lose everything. So if it seems like I'm being paranoid, keep in mind, there's nowhere else in this world for mobs to spawn except here or the mob farm when it's not lit up. So, yeah, one unlit area will absolutely doom you. All I've got is just that one sheep. Well, I'm not complaining. Better that than nothing. All right. Let's see. It's latex plastic processing. Just needs the bucket. We'll just have the mob farm storage. Oh, that's going to be tricky because I need to do something that I have not done before with these pipes, and that is try to do filters on tags in NBT data if I can. If I remember right, the advanced upgrade to it. Yeah, because I can't do filtering from that. So how are we on? I hope we're keeping up. The other thing I could be doing to speed, well, I could speed up some of these by putting extra hammers in, but they're building up enough of a backlog already. That sounded like a baby. Yeah, there's definitely a baby sheep up there. I could add more to the bank of the autosieves, but I don't need that in that rapid of a quantity, and I'm gonna drain the system with power, really. What I am debating about is that gen up there. I would happily move all of this off into its own compact machine if I could. Basically tuck it away in a little dimension, and I'm trying that out on another world. The downside is there's no easy way to transport stuff from the other world. Really get into ender chests. That's the earliest thing I can find that lets you do item transport. Compact Machines has an option to tunnel. Basically, send things to an area that let you make it so you can pipe it from outside the world, but Compact Machines 4 does not have that feature enabled yet, which makes it pretty much useless. The items are here for it, but there's no recipes for them, so I can't get into that, unfortunately. But it's useful for things like power when we have the ability to wirelessly move power around. So for the time being, all of this is just going to have to live in the overworld because refined storage also doesn't have a way to. No, I'm wrong on that. We could also set up a refined storage network inside the sifting area, our little pocket dimension, and pull it out that way. But then that would require a lot more flux power right off the bat. It is doable. I have to remind myself that when I get back to my single player world. What ender pearls, anyways? 23. This is where the downside of my approach fails. I just had to pull them all out of the system because there were some that were going to be stored up inside of that storage disk there. Since there's only 23 over here. Glad I caught that quickly enough. So I have 37 overall. That way it just ensures I'm not wasting space. Refined storage is not as important because the disks are just open to storage in general. When you get into A2, then you start running into things like having only the ability to store 63 of any kind of item. I shouldn't say 63 of any kind of item. 63 unique items on one disk. It's a limitation of that mod, which drives me absolutely batty. And, yeah. Find is a lot more useful. In fact, honestly, I'm questioning whether I would really even use an AE2 system at this point. The only place I would potentially use it is if I really wanted bulk storage of a lot of things, and then even then, I'd run into problems like with the metals, making that accessible to the refined storage system. There's no easy way to bridge refined storage and applied energistics from what I've been able to find so far. Anyways, let's go upstairs and take a look. 1 sheep, 2 sheep, sheep, and 1 lone cow. I should be happy there's no wolves spawning here. The other reason why nothing's going to be spawning here is I'm not doing, whatchamacallit, not down here at the mob farm. Probably a good thing. Let's stay close until I get that latex done. Ooh, got a bucket of latex. You can see that's all the system can hold, so we can now back in here. Get our latex processor, which is also going to need power, and annoyingly enough, a source of water. Water bucket. Oh, good grief. That one it says, stick it over to the side because the side is also the filter. All right, latex. Spot type. Processing. You go in. Yeah, clear the grid. Power. Proximity to the latex. Done. Help ourselves by automating it a little bit, so latex will automatically bucket over here, and then the other element that I'll want that will want some 1 terracotta out, huh? Okay. 4 that will need to heat up. Scorch and burn. Not a problem. Just find someone who's not used to doing anything. You look like you're not up to anything. And 3 iron. Ourselves another sink. Because that's basically all that the sinks are for at this point. Forget everything else in Pam's Harvest Craft. / cooking for blockheads for the moment. Infinite water sources for the win. Boom. And yeah, I could actually just run a massive amount of piping all over the place and move the water automatically, but I can try to make this a little more convenient. And just do that. Because the pipes can carry differing liquids. Not a problem. You can see they're even doing it literally simultaneously, which is very nice. It's a nice compact setup. You can see we are already producing a little bit of dry rubber. Dry rubber has to go through compression, store it in regular dry rubber, and then once we've got enough of that, we can make some plastic. This is why I wanted to do this towards the start stream, because this is going to take a little while. Build up any appreciable amount. Do I have any more bait left in here? Alright. It's the mob farm. It's the next problem. It and its storage system are not going to last long. Not to mention, it's annoying to have to go over there every single time I want to grab something. How many pipes do I have? One. For the time being, I think I'm going to run these over the longer distance back to here with regular pipes. I don't want to put this into the... You would think, basically, that what I would want to do is run all of this into a storage system or into the refined storage system, and that works, but it doesn't. The downside if I do that is I am going to rapidly overwhelm my storage system with junk. So to a certain extent, I want to see if I can get a upgrade in here that will let me filter what's coming over it. Pipes. We're going to need... wherever you are. They're hiding over here. We're going to need an advanced item pipe upgrade, which, as you can see, is quite costly to make. Basic, not so bad. The gold ones, yeah, they're okay. The diamond ones, yeah, I hope you got a lot of redstone. What these will do once I get them on a pipe is let me specify a lot more in the way of filter options. What I can do is run it back along that side. It's crossing chunk borders, which is not exactly ideal, but I can set this chunk to be preloaded as well, or maintain constant load state. Just run that straight across that way, and then what we'll have to do... here's where it gets tricky. So I can put a advanced filter on here, and you can whitelist, blacklist, and add things to it. There's a filter destination tool. I have not figured out how to get this thing to work yet. So right now, this remains beyond my capability. It says click on a block to set destination, so I'm assuming you right-click on the block, come back over here, effectively stick an item in there that you want to sort. It'll give you the tag associated with it. You can use MBT data, so like, say cancel out of that. Let's see. You'll have a never-ending supply of crossbows in your mob farms, I guarantee that. Like the usual stuff. The bows, the used-up swords. Some of it we want to potentially keep, but do... don't even have to click add. You can just shift click on it and it'll go in here. You can see that went in there with an exact NBT data tag, which we don't. So naturally provided tags, regular, inverted. How is that different from a whitelist and a blacklist? Anyways. So that would take every golden item or golden leggings item and would be the only thing allowed through to be pumped from this area, which unfortunately is not all that useful. It's also annoying because if there's anything I want to come through this farm, I have to run 2 pipes off of it. One is going to be to wherever I send items that want to go overboard. The other one is going to be a different pipe coming out of this chest to follow. Just I've got that set up this way from the get-go. We'll set this to pipe out eventually. I can set pipe out. It's got a dead-end destination at the moment. And will filter through one path anything. Oh, actually, no, let's not do that. What am I saying? Farrell, you're being an idiot here. Stick with the original plan. We're going to move the storage out of this area. That is going to be set up inside of our lab, which probably could have run the piping on that side. It would have been a bit easier, but we can get to the underneath the platform from here. We'll set our splitting chest, basically our decider chest, I guess you could call it, up down here. This entire section can be gotten to, but it's not for the faint of heart. This way. I need space up here. Probably not that jump. Part. 4 item pipes. All the item pipes. Fire all of them. Hey, Skyblock. Oh, good lord. It's those spanners are bad. He thinks I'm going to have to take a look at some of these settings, considering that they are making very consistent things to spam about. Do. Yeah. So much easier to have this automated. It's just not automated, but bulk crafting like that. There. Down there. Close up. Crap that one overboard. Magnet. I should probably craft one of those at this point. Definitely have the capability to. Let's see. In here. We need something more than a regular chest there. This is absolutely going to need to hold a pretty good amount of stuff. Should do a better one to do. Probably a barrel. Let's see. We can. Similar to how we've got the iron chests, we've got iron barrels effectively as well. We do a gold. Regular. Just missing all possible wood types. We should still have some logs available. Six, and do I still have any? I do have some. Beautiful. Let's see where we can upgrade that one too. If I can skip right up to this. That's something out of Mana and Artifice. Runic Anvil. Barrel, switch up to diamond barrel. This is probably skipping any number of levels out of the achievement system, because I'm pretty sure go into the storage. Yeah, I basically managed to skip over everything there. Using pick up the barrel out of the inventory, or pick it up out and hold it in my inventory. They're all no rewards branches anyway, so. There we go. Pick that so we can actually see how much is backing up. Hopefully not that much. That way, one that way. Have a diamond upgrade on both ends. And the storage network itself. Make sure I used all the trim pieces on that corner. Thinks I might have to be thinking about a jetpack next. That's why I kind of wish there was an alternative to using, well, just drawers and chests in general. I could take an iron chest and use that in chest. That'd be really nice. That's the lot. Let's get another stack. A bunch of those. There's some items that I probably want to pipe over into this system, like gunpowder, for instance, can come over here. Gunpowder, bone meal could come over here. So really what I need is another way to get go into there, which is why this is going to be a bit of a complex system. Here come the rains again. I'm sure that's green. Yeah. Let's stretch my supply a little further. Okay. Do set those up to pull over into that storage network. So we'll have bone meal going to 1, gunpowder going to 1, and Ethereum going into 1. You are running. Alright, you're the infusion system for the gravel back to the back of the farm. I don't want to run you into there because you definitely cause things to break. So that definitely stays. And you do also run into. Pretty sure you. Yeah. That actually is where we go. Can't back flush into this system at all. All of that is output down there or stuff that goes in here, which actually also works in advantage because some of the things we might get out of the farm, other things that we might get, like for instance, zombies can drop iron, and some things may be dropping gold ingots out there and everything. So that will feed that back into this system, which will let the gold and metals that might come through flow to there. And anything that can fit into this system will flow through to the storage controller. So anything in these 3 or those 3 slots here, plus the iron, flow through. That should work. I think it'll be pretty solid there. Just need a controller. Short of everything. Right. Also, I forgot I left the, oh, sorry. I put enough terracotta in there that I needed. Tell you what, since I keep managing to do it, let's grab another redstone furnace here. That machine frame. Let me guess, I don't have any. Hooray for having spares of everything. And oh, I did add another. Good, now I've got a second one. Derpy derp derpity derp derp. Stone coming up. I forgot I put that furnace in the back side there. It's so easy to fixate on what's on the front of it than what's on the back of it. Stone and aside from that, compact. Some more comparators up and running. This thing is a lot more stuff. Oh, right, that one's fully upgraded. Plop that thing full of enough upgrades, it can almost drain the, well, actually not yet, since it's only the hardened integral. If I go up another step on that, this thing will probably manage to drain the entire RF system of all of its power. Trim pieces, we actually need a full-on drawer, which to save wood means making these. Now I absolutely have to chop down a tree back there. So once I do, I can put that there safely. We don't have input to the system enabled yet. Time to go turn the mob farm on. I also need to get a tank on this thing so I can start gathering up that experience I keep losing in there. Alright. If that will pop everything out or not. Extract down to there. I need to get cardboard box. Probably quite a bit. Which we can actually do. Box. Cardboard. Out of sawdust. Hope that at least works on this mod. Cardboard box is a way that you can take something like, you'll be able to click on a chest and be able to pick it up, contents and everything intact. Looks like it'll work. Which now means I can move that without having everything spill out of it. So you go back this way, you're going under this side of the platform. Into the lab area. You right there. Shift right click on it to remove the box. You get the box back, which is nice. And everything in there is still there. If I want to be pedantic about it, I can rotate that chest around so it looks like it's fine. Into here, and I was thinking I needed 2 upgrades, but now I'm wondering. Better way to potentially go around this. Actually, no, it's not. What my thought was here is this is a dump chest. Setting everything up to filter through is going to be a royal pain. And I was thinking if I just set up a filter on one of the lines, then I don't have to quite worry about setting up a filter on this line. If I set a whitelist on here, then only things from this chest that can go into here will be accepted. But if all of these are locked down, they're not going to be able to accept anything that you don't have configured. The rest can overflow into there. Yeah, actually, I can do this without needing any of the filters. Derp. All I just need to do is just get some items set up. Here we've already got dealt with bones. Focus on the priorities here. Also, watch probably lock all of these. Be a lot easier just to set this to automatically empty things out, but you on. See the Imperium disappear, and we should see the count going up. Perfect. That is indeed what we want. I'll leave this one set to not pull until I've got that whole drawer set up just as a safety precaution. I didn't need to put gunpowder. Bad decision. Down there. String. And oh, an ash. It's actually useful. I can't remember what it was. That was chalk and arcane it was arcane compound. Because that I needed to make arcane ash, which was then needed to make purified vintium dust, which I forget what I was using that for. I think I was trying to get into Mano and Artifice and just starting to explore the early levels of that, but I'm going to hold on to that. Which is also why we need all of these and flower down here that we want to wake bloom. Elm and super blossoms. Definitely went whole for zombie flesh. I can actually turn that into leather. Spoiler eyes. Yep. Some of those. Vintium dust has a storage area over here, so we can dunk that right out of there. And getting there on emptying this out. There's a bunch of, don't display right in the whatchamacallit, stuff from Reliquary. Fragments. Those are a royal pain to keep up with. I actually want those out of the system over here because there's a million of them. I wish I were kidding. Sticks. We do have storage for that. So we can vent that over into here. Just have all the various parts. Those can go over there for now. Marks of the Undead. Check those. Fine silk. That's fine silk cloth. I haven't played around with S gear that much. Silent gear. To really know what I can do with it. For that matter, what the mod's really used for. But looks like it's going to be useful in making spider bee books. Spider bees. Yeah, we'll let you stock up. Being a bit picky for stuff right off the bat. Just because I might be able to filter this out by mod type. So if I take all the reliquary stuff out of the equation, that reliquary stuff just might be better off getting stored in idle. Hang on. A wraith? Chilling. Chemical imbuer. Make a potion of chilling with it. That's about it. And just various automated things of doing it, or a bone chill wand. That's a fancy looking UI. Rose. Wow. Okay, yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to be able to do with that just yet, so shove it to the side. Ars Nouveau. Building form. I can use you for bone meal. I can got the wilden wings. I should probably hang on to that for now. Tablet used for rituals. Consumed. Potion of strength. Okay. Enchanting apparatus that lets me make a spell focus. Okay, yeah, I think I remember this one. This mod, if I remember right, is it's an interesting one. It's a flexible magic mod that lets you kind of design the spells. It's like if you want to cast a fireball, there's various, it basically would give you a mana bar and give you access to castable spells right off your hotbar kind of thing. So instead of having a bow and arrow, you would have a fireball spell basically queued up ready to go. It's an interesting system. I don't know if I'm going to play around with it too much, but chicken, so we must have had a jockey spawn at some point. Ender pearls, those can vent right. Rib bones or reliquary, they're pretty much going to be useful more for when it actually get more bones at the moment. Or if I want to make a spooky bee spawn egg. There. Ender pearl fragments. They're useful because I can turn them into ender pearls, but we don't get them with enough drop to make them actually worth anything. Forbidden in Arcanus. And I did warn you guys at the start of the series when I was looking for mod packs, I was really looking for something not so heavily dependent on magic. So it seems like I'm glossing over a lot of this stuff and shoving it to the side. That's largely because I am. Mark of the Council, Man and Artifice. Alright, so you... a fair bit of room left here. What to do then? Let's take that. That. Since that's now set, everything here should pull. I know someone is saying, why are you doing all this stuff off individual drawers instead of doing it off the drawer controller? Because I don't want all of this to find a way into my system right now. So every one of those. Good. Now the next time you need to make something, it needs drawers. Got a million of them sitting around. The trouble with this system that I've got as I've defined it is it will eventually fill up and overflow. So, I'm going to deal with it. Because I would really rather not try to define every single one of these items in general as they come through the system. Also, actually, mushrooms, I'll happily take. These I can certainly use. Potion of slowness, I can get bottles off of them if I want to drink the potion. Potion of healing, sure, why not? If I get a witch and she happens to have one, go for it. Other than that, arrows don't belong over here. I'm full up on that. Yeah, so then that's going to start overflowing unless I get... I just literally said I'm going to need a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to need to use drawers for... Oh, stop doing that, game. I know the recipe for this by heart, believe me. There we go. 32 upgrades. All the obsidian I can... the obsidian I can get. All the obsidian I can get is none of the obsidian. We need void upgrades for all of that. Yeah, exactly. Spawners used to be able to be moved. Nodes. Nodes you could do. Towards the later end of Thaumcraft, or at least at one point in Thaumcraft, you could move them and maintain them to a certain extent. The problem was it was damn annoying to do it. And then you'd get all these nodes in one spot, and it would just be, ugh. Be an organizational nightmare. Yeah, I'm doing this sort of setup for filtering is just so much easier than actually messing with the filters. Much less painful. Anyways, need obsidian, and might as well see. Thing. Well, our cow's growing up. I wonder if they've toyed around with the spawning mechanics again, or if I just didn't spend enough time down there at the farm. Let's see, where's obsidian? I should really also have the system backfed by a tank with an upgrade on it. I am going to burn through all the stored lava in the farm at this point. Oh, it's high down close. 36 will do. Empty that out. That's it down. I do kind of wish the crafting terminals kept their stuff between them. There we go. 5 will do for now. Because I don't need an endless supply of this stuff. I don't mind just outright venting it. Which is the other advantage of doing it this way, because it's a heck of a lot easier. Now it took the arrows and it's just immediately voided them. Much easier to just do that than trying to figure out how I'm going to dispose of all of this stuff when it flows eventually. Definitely don't want armor. As far as crossbows go, grab 2 or 3 and you're fine. I'm honestly not worried about... Normally I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm keeping all the bows because I can combine them up with experience and get a really good bow. I'm going to be able to make an OP bow relatively somewhat easier. Let's just say that power 5 right off the bat on the first enchant is entirely a possibility. Do with the rest of this. I mean, armor, I can craft it up. Rare armor like chainmail, I don't think it really has a use. I'd have to have it fully repaired to get a single nugget out of it. I don't even think it's, yeah, they didn't even make it so you can chuck this stuff in the Tinker's Construct smelters anymore. It's like, what do you do? I think that indestructible applies to anything. At this point, I'd rather just arm up a netherite. So let's take a look at what we do have left over. We want to keep Ender Pearl fragments, council, various fragments, and there's even more of this than what I'm seeing. Remember? So I'd have to keep an eye on the system. We have trees and then one. These around and let them go to their limits. The Ender Pearl fragments, I'd be tempted to autocraft. If I can reverse the flow here or not. Yeah, this is reversible. So if anything, that is telling me I need to replace this with a compacting drawer. That will work out better. Have not without another drawer. All right. I get it, game. Want me to break down a tree? I shall go for the tree. Even though doing so is annoying. Because vein miner can't reach up that far. And I really have no desire to try to scaffold up because I don't have any bamboo anyways. Come on. Even if I were doing automated tree harvesting through pedestals, it wouldn't be able to handle this tree. Alright, let's make sure I don't knock the tree out from under me. There we go. Okay. I could have just chopped down any one of those trees, but honestly, it's just better to... Right, with the animals there, I probably don't want to put it back anyways. We'll be able to make more puzzles soon enough as it is. I do need to think about going through and replacing some of that. And that little seed inventory. That's better. Now let's talk about drawer controllers. Or not controllers. Actually, no. A drawer controller wouldn't be a bad idea either for the dump system. The secondary branch of it. I really... kind of thinking on my feet here. If I do a second drawer controller, I could branch off separate storage to handle just the arcane stuff off to the side. I can just run that off the primary storage anyways. And then it will still be there at least. Ah, it's so nice to have a sawmill. That is effectively adding 2 more planks to everything getting out of the wood, which is a huge help. Big help. It's 8, which should be more than enough to accommodate that, and then the rest of it. Gives me some stuff. Drawer controller. Slave. Not. No, the compacting drawer, Pharaoh. That's what you're going for. What do I want? And then, as we did before, stage with the smallest item, and it's not gonna take it. I feed you an ender pearl to start with. Give me Ender Pearl. Ender Pearl. Which basically is only going to be useful as... Alright. I was hoping I'd have a nice, easy way to do this, but apparently not. Even though it's got a recipe for that to auto-compact. Apparently... Void upgrade. Rest once I get enough void upgrades. There's one thing I wish they would go back to on drawers. It is, they used to give you a pattern, a green border to indicate when you'd upgraded a drawer with something. And now you have to go in and actually look at the upgrades, see if you've done a size upgrade on them. Not exactly all that user-friendly. Council. Oh, so we got drumming around here. Those, that. The reason why I was thinking about drinking the potions of slowness is that it would give me free glass bottles, basically. That and slowness really isn't going to kill me. It's not like I'm expecting to have to run out mobs anyway anytime soon here. Over. That light there, this corner's gonna be a little on the dark side. Don't want that connected. Some fragments. Zombie heart. Enderman heart. Wraith heart. Zombie heart. Zombie heart. Mod pack makers, could you kind of standardize on me? Get a little less annoying to have to deal with all those drops? That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. That simplifies the list down a bit. They could hang on to the chicken. I mean, jockeys aren't going to spawn with any regularity. Can't hurt just to have the extra food option. Got one slot left for randos, and nothing else from here is going to go anywhere. A fine glowstone. And get one nugget if I have a fully repaired piece. No. No, no, no. Now. Rest of this. Oh well. Let's find the good old trash can. As I can, with the exception of stone bedside cabinet. Some of the stuff that the mods add or that's available in the furniture mod. That's interesting. Also, why did I just build an extra chest when I had that in my inventory and that over there? Also begs the question, why didn't the crafting terminal pick it up? Should have. You. And do one other thing here. Yeah, suit up just because I happen to pick up a piece of art. On. Where's the trash can? Chest. Trash can. I'm doing this intentionally. Now I can actually run this all off of one. And what we're going to do, as soon as I can... It's not good. And we're going to stick this here, and I'm going to tell it destination. I want to absolutely be nearest first. So it's that by default, but putting the upgrade in here, the other reason I'm putting that in is now this is doing 32 items every 5 ticks. This will be more than enough to keep up with the mob farm. Let's break this temporarily so I can stock this up. Without potentially losing that chest. Go away, you can go away. Everything in there is good. Items. Boop. And a boop. And you can see all that basically just got trashed. That's the easier way to do it. Downside is I would kind of like to still have this to be able to see what's coming through and not have it all immediately go into trash, but for something that's going to be sitting around here and not being actively monitored, I should probably not worry about that. If I'm really that worried, I'll just basically cut off the pipe and we'll take a look at what's being kept over time, but we don't want to leave it there too long because the armor will just eventually flood it. Oh, I did also say I want to get a tank done with the XP. It's going to fill up ridiculously fast, but... hang on. Is... I have access to emeralds. So keep it somewhat available. Craft myself up one of these. Because you go through the quest book and you get a million things that give you experience. We can put that to use. It should be. Same mod pack that's doing that. There we go, the XP tab. So now we can also get it back if we store it. Because after all, you yourself are the best source of liquid experience. I think by the time I finally got around to crafting one of these in my offline world, I was probably around experience level 60. It took a while, and it took a couple of tanks. I'm honestly not expecting to get everything out of this, or into this tank. Don't mind me just using the bathroom. Put a chest between the drawer controller and the trash can just as a buffer for avoiding. Well, I don't know. problem is if I put it there, it's just gonna, it'll still eventually back up on its own regardless. No, it's literally, it's effectively just a shower drain. That's all it really is. We can stick an XP tap on it, so if I need more back, I can get it back pretty quickly. Or drain it just as fast. I'm sorry, it's the sound effect when you drain your XP. It needs to be something other than that. That's fully built up, so that'll take the time to fill. Let's turn that back on. It's basically a case of with this sort of system, I could easily do an overflow. I just have to commit to checking it on a regular basis. It's not that bad. I mean, technically, this is an overflow as it stands. Upgraded. No, I should have you upgraded as well. There's no way that's going to drain quick enough if I've got the other end set to drain much quicker. Select that. Look at it, it's half full already. You can shift right click to apply the filter. You don't want to have to go in and add it manually too. So you're now doing 32 items every 5 ticks, and let that get running and see what we get over time. You can see our latex log over here has stripped the bark as its first stage. So now it's got the meat of the log, shall we say. It's just a stripped log. But it is still going, and after all that time, all we've got is 59 tiny rubber. Which is going to give me 6 pieces of plastic. It's not a lot. And you need plastic for most of your industrial foregoing stuff, if I remember right. There's the 4 we need. I have 1 gas tier. 1 solitary lone tier. Just to make sure, I always have a sheep around. It's available. Not to mention, that will be much useful for actually, you can stick him somewhere and potentially have an automated sharing system. Grass would be the only trick for that, but there's ways to work with that. There we go. Alright, so you guys are all set. Got latex processing all set. Slow as it is, we're at least getting something. And that is mob farm storage. That's everything out of that list. We got the punch list done for today. What do you know? Alright. So that's set. We're flowing. Everything through here is good. Building up a good amount of Imperium essence. And I think as far as things need to do before next episode, that's going to be void upgrades on all of the chests. Just so that way I don't back up the system badly enough. If I start losing things, I'd rather lose things rather than have the entire system back up. We do need to get soul sand sifting. And since you guys have seen how I've done the netherrack and the endstone, the soul sand's going to be the same way. It's just going to involve taking the setup that I've got up here and moving this underground. Easy enough to do. Right, I've got spore blossom, or not spore blossoms, and spores. I do. Yeah, it looks like I'll have to sieve some more dirt up the hard way. It's okay. We've still got our sifter over here. I'll just make another mesh for it. Either that or Silk Touch. I don't want to tackle an enchanting setup right now because that will take... That's almost an episode on its own because I'll have to get into Britannia for some of it. Or I could just pipe the witch water. Might actually be the better way to go because this takes a while to generate. If we had a little bit... This is basically what I wanted to do anyways. Make sure it's lit so that spreads. You can do more barrels on the outside of it. And instead of automating all this from up here, be able to move that system downstairs. So water on the inside. Witch water from the outside. Out. Put that. Oh, there. Because that makes total sense. Definitely need some more pipes. We can work that in. Deliver that underground along this side. Clean chunks. Clean chunk and chunk load that farm. Everything along here plus power generator. So that will now ensure that all of this stays loaded no matter what. And we'll run... I'll have to clean this chunk, technically. Run the witch water down this way, down into here. I'll do that off camera. Probably pipe it, tuck it back into this side of the stairs. That will let me then build in a system for sand. Which means I'll probably reroute the sand from coming over into our system here. Because the reality of it is, sand really isn't getting us anything overly useful. I mean, as far as sifting sand, it's a bunch of junk. Let's do it on the regular sieve. The waterlogged sieve I could get some stuff out of, but even that's not giving me a lot. All I really would need out of that is the arid garden for the last of the Ham's Harvest Craft crops. As far as sand goes. Oh no, whatever shall I do without my supply of prismarine? My dinky supply of prismarine. Yeah, we'll be fine without it. I've got a jungle tree back to do cocoa beans on. Salt, don't really care. I can make that if I want to, the hard way. Ham's Harvest Craft, so we're for all intents and purposes, just as well off. Not even caring. We'll let that start stocking up, and I'll just redirect that flow and storage over towards the soul sand area. Slime, I don't think I'm worried about short term, and if I have to, I can always just shut down the sieving down here. Or just branch off a separate barrel for some manual slime making. Do that, and then zoom off camera here. If we need too much, power is... We're stressing it. Got a little bit of a buffer with how we're running right now. I mean, especially because these last two aren't even upgraded yet fully. Whereas this one has got the reinforced integral components on it. Yeah, I think that's a minimal amount of prep for next time, but that's okay. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do on camera. Just let the mob farm run, and that will be about it. Yeah, and the color doesn't help either. It's Mountain Dew. That's all it is. It's Mountain Dew. Don't worry about it. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. There's a half hour left, so I can actually get something to eat before Splitsy and Co. embark on a wrong way up. I was about ready to call it wrong way down, but it's wrong way up this time. So definitely be sure to keep an eye peeled. I don't know if we're doing that on YouTube or Twitch as far as channels, but definitely be sure to check that out. It's going to be Space Engineers and done interestingly, shall we say. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next episode.